if it wasn't discrimination. And you have the nerve, you have the nerve to sit there on your high horse and preach to these bottom-feeding dwellers who sit in the chat room, like Alliance Blog, who's been doing this for over a decade, still only got 2,000 followers. Yeah, I see you, you're a jabroni and a ham sandwich, and I don't want to hear from you ever again. About what the NWA is supposed to do. This is what pro wrestling is supposed to be. This is what the NWA is supposed to be. No. You don't tell anyone what the NWA is supposed to be, and you certainly don't lecture me about what the NWA is supposed to be. I made the NWA.
Why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth. Is it true that your dad has a ringside seat, but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah.
See, he's awesome. Yeah! Give it up for Claire. Thank you so much, Claire. High five. Yeah.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance Blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Here's the story now. If I see Kevin Owens, or even someone who looks like Kevin Owens, I drop them on sight.
Welcome.
It's party time!
So, what day is it today?
Tuesday?
Wrong. It's NWA Day.
They want NWA? Let's give them NWA.
I was thinking that it might be a good idea if you and I formed an alliance.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Attention, everyone. Welcome to the greatest wrestling program in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
Okay, let's party. It's the pre-party with J. Cal.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. That's your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J. Cal, not Kevin Owens. Although that's what 36 people told me on TikTok today. But I am here both simulcasting on both TikTok and here on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. So we're talking NWA wrestling. Of course, this is the unofficial pre-show for NWA Power. I don't know why I couldn't say pre-show. My mind would not get to it. But every Tuesday, this is what we do. And I want to say what's up to my friends in the chat because, of course, this is a community that we're building together. You guys being a part of this is just as cool as me getting to do this. So first and foremost, I want to say what's up to Willie Bowen. His graphic was brown. It got me off guard. Who says Tyrus wrestling skills is like the meat he eats. Spam. Yeah, okay. we could say that. We could say that Willie Bowen has spam wrestling skills. Let me see here. I'm making a mod. I think this how do I make a mod? Is there a way to do it easily? Add moderator. There it is. All right, Josh, you've been deputized. You're in. Okay. Steve G's in the house. What's up, Steve? How are you? Showgain is in the house. Who says I love the Aldous opening? It gets a lot of heat. It gets a lot of people talking. I feel like I always feel like the need to say that before. Explain that portion of the video. That came from a podcast for This is the Pro Wrestling Podcast. Our good friends Gary Horn, Robert Stinson, and Will Martin used to do that. This is the NWA podcast, and this was right around COVID time. So the world's heavyweight champion was not really out there defending his title. I was very vocal about his lack of title defenses when you would have other NWA champions defending their titles. And I thought, like, well, if they could do it, why can't you? Aldis took exception to that. Aldis blocked me on Twitter. Keep in mind, Aldis and I had been friends. Well, maybe not friends. Maybe that term is a little too kind. We were acquaintances. I flew all the way to China, Wenzhou, China, to see Nick Aldis defend the 10 pounds of gold against Colt Boom Boom Cabana. And so after that, after what happened during COVID and my comments, he blocked me on Twitter. And I happened to see him in a video that my friends were doing. And I just said, okay, man, this freaking guy. And then he called me out, and I screenshotted it because I thought it was great. UGM on TikTok, go ahead, ask a question. NWA questions are always welcomed. Brett Hart's in the chat. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Overmetal's in the chat. What's up, Overmetal? Now, I'm going to get back to YouTube comments in just a minute, but UGM says, how do you think EC3 has done since he started in the NWA? It's a great question. I have mixed responses about EC3. I feel like his run as world champion was very historic. I think you got to celebrate a guy who could get the 10 pounds of gold back into All Japan Pro Wrestling. It had been 1987, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was the last NWA world champion to defend in All Japan. So I feel like that right there is an extra bonus point for whatever EC3 did as world champion. But he also took the belt all over the United States, including stops in California, stops in Colorado. I mean, he really took that title everywhere, but he especially took that title to my friend's wrestling promotion in Australia. And I feel like that's huge, man. And I don't know when the last time an NWA world champion that wasn't a part of the NWA took the title to Australia. And that's not a shot at Tom Latimer, but I think that's a huge deal. You know, Tom Latimer being world's heavyweight champion he's been phenomenal, but EC3 got booked to come defend that title in California. That's also saying quite a bit as far as I'm concerned. So EC3 as his run in the NWA, I mean, there's been pros and cons. The control your narrative, Gestapo type thing that they did initially when he came in was kind of not fun. I didn't care for that. His rivalry with Tom Latimer has been up and down. His currently as a tag team with Pretty Boy Smooth, I think has been very, very fun. And in Tyler We Trust, I mean, in EC3 We Trust, I feel like he's really starting to come into it now. So I think at some point him and Tom will wrestle again for the world's heavyweight title. But until that happens, I'm very content with him in the tag team working with his guy Pretty Boy Smooth. All right. Steve G says, Jake, how long before we get a Nick Aldis interview? Oh, I'm a jabroni. I am a ham sandwich, and I don't think he would ever come on this podcast ever. Like, I don't think there's no way you would get Nick Aldis to come on this podcast. I don't think any amount of money, I don't think he'd come on. But we're just ham sandwich jabronis over here. Wrestling Classic says, I like EC3 as far as his title run. It was great everywhere except the NWA. That's the problem, though, right? That's like the NWA booking. EC3 has been great everywhere except for the NWA. Right now, same thing with Tom Latimer. I mean, you got him defending the title in Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling against Baron Corbin, against Stu Grayson, and I think his next defense on July 5th is against Matt Cardona. All of these are like solid title defenses. And he's not really defending the title in the NWA against, like, so they brought in Rhino, and that was a great idea for Crockett Cup. And then they brought in Colby Carino to be a part of that match. And I feel like that watered it down so much. And then, on TV, you're not seeing Tom Latimer wrestle some of the top names, but on the independents, like, he wrestled against, Heath Slater. He wrestled against, I'm forgetting his name. Silas Young, who back in the day was, pretty big deal with ROH. And, he's been out there on the indies, like even for the NWA that they did the Grilled Cheese Festival in Sacramento. He defended the title against Kratos. That's what I want to see. On Power, he's wrestling Aaron Stevens in cinematic matches. And I'm like, this is a waste of everyone's time. Double D. Devin, are you a moderator on here? If you're not, you're gonna be. I'll have to figure it out later. But yeah, Double D, you should be a moderator. Dadder dude on TikTok says, "Dad down with Tom Latimer, up with Tom Lawler." That would be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Double D says, Aldous blocked you because you're a ham sandwich. Yeah, I guess that's the truth. Let's see. Alliance fam. Sam Retro's in the house. What is up, Sam? Steve G says, time we finally book Tom versus Andrade. That would be very chaotic and wild. I wouldn't hate that. Willie Bowen says, Ric Flair took the 10 pounds of gold to Australia and New Zealand. Yeah, I mean, look, Ric Flair is the measuring stick. Everyone just is trying to like get their place on Mount Rushmore. It's Ric Flair's world, and we're all just living in it. Dadner dude says, Filthy Tom for president of the NWA. Is Hex still in the NWA? UGM, no. Hex, sadly, they're not. Allison Kay and Marty Bell are not in the NWA. All right, 2 more people just said I look like Kevin Owens on TikTok. Sorry, Michael. Sorry, DJ. I can't crash out. I'm doing my podcast right now. But thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you, Josh. Bishop Dyer. I'm sorry. Not Baron Corbin. Bishop Dyer. You're right. Noob. Some controversial hot takes. The CYNS no one cares about in his run in the NWA is overall good. Yeah, I like. Look, I think there's a lot more good with EC3 than bad for sure. And like I said, I think who said it in the chat? Wrestling with Classic said like he had a great run. Just his NWA matches were not great. That's pretty accurate, actually. Thanks for the follow, DJ or DJ JD. Let's see. Natalia Markova. Oh, there goes the screen. Natalia Markova, her run in the NWA is good, but there's also some negatives like competing in the Men's Crockett Cup, for example. Yeah, that was one of the things that I feel like has hurt Markova. That whole putting her in the Men's Crockett Cup and the Looks That Killed tag team. If there was never a concerted effort to make a what's it called? Brain fart. If you're not going to have a men and women's tag team title, then that whole point of that was kind of silly. Oh my God. Josh, I can't repeat that. Intergender. Thank you, Wrestling Classics. I can't repeat that. Oh my God. Waleed said, fight, Kevin, fight. You're on the list. Just made the list. Jason, Yes Movement. You can watch the NWA today. In fact, as soon as we're done here, you don't even need an X account, Twitter. But if you go to x.com/the NWA, they do their TV for now. It's going to be on X. But starting July 28th, I think it's July 28th now. I have to look at my calendar. It is July 29th. July 29th. July 29th, it will be the day that the NWA Power will move to the Roku Sports channel. So it will be available today. As soon as this podcast is over, July 29th, it'll be on the Roku Sports starting on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. Sam Retro's in the house. What's up, Sam? Noob says, Tom Latimer, all he does is wrestling former WWE and AEW wrestlers in the indies. That's not Noob. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Having somebody, having Tom showing up, across the indies wrestling big name wrestlers, I think is good for business. If Tom goes to Louisville, Kentucky and wrestles against a former WWE World Champion, I think people would be interested in that, or former AEW World Champion, or a former draw in either the WWE or AEW. If Tom comes to California and wrestles Silas Mason, I love Silas Mason. Hell, I love Tom Latimer, but that's not going to be a huge money draw. I mean, not on paper. If they come and do promo work for it, sure, but not on paper. Josh, yeah, the NWA did announce that the NWA 77th anniversary show will be in New York. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. I'm trying to get caught up on all the comments over here on the TikTok or on YouTube because, well, there's a lot of names on here. So Retro asks, hey, will the NWA the pre-party move to 5 p.m. Eastern time when Roku starts? I mean, that's really only an hour difference, isn't it? Well, 5 p.m. Eastern is what? That's 5 p.m. Eastern is, I get mixed up. So 5 p.m. Pacific would be a better, I guess, lead in because it shows on 8 o'clock on the East Coast, right? Yeah. No, I don't think the time. I don't think right now I don't plan on changing the time unless like there's an overwhelming reason to do that. Steve G, yeah, you could watch Roku for free right now. You can sign up for Roku and it's completely free. A lot of TVs already have the Roku app on it, but if not, you could watch it on Roku. Alan, I'm not Kevin Owens. I can't crash out, but how about I just point at the camera? I'm not Kevin Owens. All right, there we go. I want to get back to these comments. So no intergender wrestling. I'm not a big fan either, Willie. Sean says tonight's show looks blah on paper. It doesn't look great. To be fair, he just wrestled Colby. You're talking about Tom, right? Steve G says Willie best to ever lace up a pair of boots, in my opinion. And I think you were talking about Ric Flair. Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to argue with that. And my good friend Jeremy, who I just sent a t-shirt out to today, says, don't forget to like, share, and comment after the stream. It all helps with Al Gore's rhythm. Helps with my rhythm, too. Finn does WWE, says, hello, and hi, KO. I can't do that. Can't break out. This is a YouTube show. Let's see. Sean Vegas says, don't change the time. I don't feel like I will, but maybe. I don't know. UGM on TikTok asked if I ever trained for wrestling. I did high school wrestling all 4 years. I was not very good. I stand at a whopping 5 feet 9 inches on a good day. I'm not the best. I'm not in the best shape of my life, but I'm working on it. And I'm technically I'm now at the age where I don't think I should be trying to learn how to wrestle. I thought about it when I was younger, and had I been more knowledgeable about where to train, I might have. But no, never actually trained for pro wrestling. I bet you I could take a bump. If Dave Marquez ever wanted a photographer to get bumped in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, I think I could pull that off, but that's about it. Idiotic Central, it's all good, brother. Appreciate you hanging out, watching the show with us. Man, they're still calling me Kevin Owens on TikTok. I think it's at 40 now. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Yeah, 40. Let's see. Let's see. Crash out, KO. I can't crash out on YouTube. My son learned single leg takedowns at day 2 of his first wrestling camp. That's awesome. Oh, see. And then over metal, my favorite when I got in there was the fireman's carry, just because I love the idea of like throwing somebody. And especially when they're little guys, like they don't know how strong they are and they don't know how light they are. So you get in there deep and you just hook it up and you can toss somebody, you can make them fly. And it's always fun. Hey, Sophia, what's going on? Sophia didn't call me Kevin Owens. Oh, what do you think about CM Punk? We're going to talk about a lot of fun things, I'm sure of it. What happened here? I don't know. My computer just went weird. I don't know what happened there. We're good. By the way, I'm over 3,000 followers now on TikTok. Thank you, TikTok, for making that happen. Now the goal's 10,000. Let's go. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm a little disheveled here. I just got 3,000 followers on TikTok. Look at that. The F5 is basically a fireman's carry. Yeah, I mean, in some regards, sure. So the two moves that I really enjoyed when I was an amateur wrestler in high school was the lateral, which some people call a souffle. It's where you get an underhook and an overhook, and then you use your weight to flip them. That was always fun. The fireman carry was fun, but I never got fireman carries during the match. But what I used to love doing is getting a leg ride. And just because I'm left-handed too, right? So everyone that I wrestled against was always right-handed. So you get on the other side and their brains would just melt. They couldn't understand what to do. So it was easy to mess with them. I was not a good wrestler, but I was kind of sneaky. Thanks, UGM. 3005 to be exact. So I appreciate that. J-Cal, maybe you should try and get KO as a guest. You might crash the next. Yeah, look. If there's ever a chance, I would have Kevin Owens on in a heartbeat. And Soto, who hangs out with me on TikTok, and I hang out with him sometimes, he keeps saying we should go see Kevin Owens, and I would love to go see Kevin Owens, and I'll have to wear the Kevin Owens shirt. Maybe I'll have one of my kids draw a dinosaur on my arm or something, so it looks like I have his tattoo as well. But I have some tattoos, but none like his. So anyway, let's get back to more NWA talk. Idiotic Central says, I'm really beginning to dislike Jey Uso with a passion. Josh Banberg, I'm more of an armbar guy. Love it. I don't think I sound like Kevin Owens. I really don't. I don't think I look like Kevin Owens. I really don't. But everyone tells me I am. So we'll go with that. The NWA 77, New York. New York. It's a hell of a town. So much so that Billy is bringing the whole boys and girls club of the NWA to New York. And so, look, I'll be honest, man. I'm not. They're still calling me Kevin Owens on TikTok. Look, this was probably the most big announcement that was not done very big. Does that make sense? Having the NWA come to New York City, that's a big step. Big step in the positive direction. I'm sorry, I'm getting taken away here. The 77th anniversary show coming to New York. Progressively, the NWA over the last few years has done their anniversary shows in St. Louis, Missouri, in Nashville, Tennessee. They did, they did Nashville for the 70th. Then they did like two of them in St. Louis. Then last year they did Philadelphia at the ECW Arena. A lot of us kind of expected it to be on the East Coast. I was expecting more like Mid-Atlantic area, not New York. So having them come to New York is kind of a big deal, right? Give it to us in Central America is what Wrestling Classic says. King Sean Vega is now over on TikTok. By the way, I like you guys better when you're on YouTube. Just saying. Let's see. Noob said he expected it to go to Chicago. Retro says New York, not New York City. Also points out that it's CEP territory. Yeah, and it's CEP is after this announcement, I would imagine CEP becomes the next territory to join the NWA. King Sean Mega says Latimer versus Carlito or Cardona at the NWA 77. I will say this, right? I know with all certainty, because I was there, that there was nothing set up at Crockett Cup leading us to the 77th anniversary, unless they decide to get Natty Neihart in for another show and bring her in against Natalia and Kenzie Page for the 77. But there were no overtures. East Jesus, New York. Wrestling Classics back on YouTube. Thank you. So look, I feel like this is a good landing spot for the anniversary show. I don't think I'm going to make this one, guys. I don't think I'll be able to make it out there. I do feel like this is going to be a huge show. Sam Retro said Huntington area can be expensive. Good thing it's one night only. Yeah, it's look. I feel like the NWA has kind of painted themselves into a corner. Crockett Cup was a very exciting card. They went all in, right? They got a talent from WWE. They had Rhino appear, who was just coming off his AEW debut. They crowned new Crockett Cup champions. They had tag teams from all over the world. Most of them worked in the NWA existingly. But all that to say is that this was a big deal for the Crockett Cup. Now we have one TV taping between when Crockett Cup filmed. There's a TV taping July 1st, which is a Tuesday. That's odd. And then they're going to go back and do, as far as we know, the next taping is in August for the Signature Live event, the 77th anniversary show. They have not announced a single match yet, which is probably for the best because we don't know. Like I said, nothing was built up at Crockett Cup. But, with CEP helping probably lay down some promotional work, of course, Brian Idol, they have been able to get really good gates in new markets. We look at what they've been doing in Dothan, Alabama. A lot of good business there. What they have done at the ECW Arena the last 2 times they were there. Really good walk-up numbers, really good. Filled the building. I don't know if it was no vacancy, but it looked really good on camera. So I feel like I trust the NWA to take this opportunity to showcase. I don't know that Long Island is exactly where the NWA needs to be, but with CEP, kind of helping to get this event going, I'm sure there will be a lot of co-promoting and building up this event. And where can they go from here? I mean, you had Rhino challenge for the 10 pounds of gold. And I see a lot of names here in the chat, like someone said Matt Cardona. I mean, they could run Matt Cardona back, but they're also doing Matt Cardona July 5th for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. They are booking Matt Cardona to challenge Tom Latimer for the 10 pounds of gold. It would be very weird if the NWA announced that as the main event, before that match has happened on the pay-per-view. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to book this show. There's a lot of questions that need to have answers to, but we haven't gotten there yet. So it's a good announcement. I'm hoping that it'll be fun. I'm hoping that it'll be a good show. But I'm not holding my breath for anything. Let's see. Idiotic Central said, I ordered a 24/7 toy title off the WWE shop, and I can't wait for it to arrive. It only cost me about 13 pounds and like 4 pounds for delivery. That is actually very affordable. And then Johnny calls me Kevin Owens on TikTok. Damn it, Johnny. We were having such a good time. And you got to ruin it by calling me Kevin Owens. Are we getting a promo this Friday from your rental? Maybe, Den. I mean, it won't be a promo. It'll be a dad joke. I filmed like 5 of them in one day just so I could have them ready to go. Let's see. I was hoping the Now's New York promotion was going to be folded in. Any chance NWA makes a bigger subsystem up north like they do with Texas? I mean, I think at this point, all bets are off. I think anything is an option. I think anything could happen because I really feel like, the goal is to grow. The goal is to get more eyeballs. If you are promoting in Texas, you got 2 promotions in Texas. Technically, you got 2 promotions in Tennessee. I mean, why not have 2 promotions in the Northeast? Why not NWA Northeast or NWA New York or NWA Mid-Atlantic? There is no, this is all, Billy has to sign off on this stuff. And if these are Billy's ideas, I'm sure he doesn't mind following them. I don't see this as being a bad thing at all. So the thing about Scorpio Sky, and I love Scorpio Sky. Let's make this perfectly clear. Scorpio Sky to me is one of the most underutilized, underrated wrestlers in the sport of pro wrestling today. And that's to say that he's held the TNT title 2 times. He's a former ROH World Tag Team Champion, former AEW World Tag Team Champion. I think nothing but the best Scorpio Sky. If you know about Scorpio Sky. But putting him as an opponent for Tom Latimer, I think is, I don't know. I think it's on paper. Look, on paper, I think it's a hell of a match, right? Sky can work well with anybody, and working with Tom would certainly be an opportunity for him to showcase that. Now, Tom's a lot bigger, not a lot bigger, but he's bigger. Tom's like a 6'4", 6'3", maybe. You know, Scorpio Sky's about 6 foot. It would be interesting for that style of match. But again, I don't think he's cleared to wrestle yet. I don't think we're going to see. Did I say he's not cleared to wrestle yet? What am I talking about? Since AEW hasn't officially released Scorpio Sky, I don't think you'll see him in the NWA. I can't say your name, Bear, but somebody on TikTok just called me KO for knockoff. How about knock it off? Because I'm not Kevin Owens. Okay? All right. Retro says, I want to see Markova win the Burke. I do too. I really think I would too. Billy should hire me to start a promotion for NWA Northern New York. Why not? King Sean Vega says, where's Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows? I would love to see them show up in the NWA. But I might be the minority there. Wrestling Classic says it needs to make sense. Absolutely. The thing about whatever the NWA's next step is, whether it be who they book for the world title matches, whoever they book on the shows, it does have to make sense. Because now you're taking this program and you're moving it to a bigger platform. It's going to be on Roku Sports. It's not just TikTok anymore. It's not just NWA anymore. It's not just Triller. This is probably the biggest platform that the NWA has been on. Yes, I know that they were on the CW app. No, I don't think that was a big platform. Roku Sports is a slightly bigger platform to me than the CW app was. And we'll see how that pans out. Of course, being on the Roku app means that they'll be available in the United States, in Canada, and Mexico. Overmetal Son says, Son's name's Jackson. That's a great name. I really think EC3 is going to win the Crockett Cup. I know who wins the Crockett Cup, and I'm not going to spoil it for you or Jackson. Mims versus Colby would be a good feud for the national title. I agree with that. Like, look, I hate the fact that Colby wrestled at the Crockett Cup in the main event against Rhino and Tom Latimer. I would have loved to have Colby and Tom in a singles match at a different time, a different place. I felt like it hurt the match. I think Colby is a phenomenal talent. I feel like Colby would make a lot of sense in that national title, and I feel like Colby and Mims could probably steal one and have a steal the show type of match. I'm really excited about what could happen there. And again, all these are matches that could potentially happen at the 77th anniversary show. Like I said, you know, they're going to do these TV tapings on July 1st, Tuesday, July 1st in Tampa. These will be your regular power tapings. And these matches that they film in July will probably 100% lead to what they're going to do at the 77th anniversary show, because there's not a lot of time in between. That's a great question. Wrestling Classic says, are Roku paying for production? That, again, because the NWA is not a publicly traded company, we won't ever know the details unless Billy decides to share that, or if Roku decides to share that. And if they are paying for production, that's a huge win for the NWA. If they're paying for half the production, that's a huge win for the NWA. Because right now, X ain't paying for anything. They're not an X show. It's not a show on X. That's a platform that they're paying to be on, essentially. And they get paid for engagement, and I feel like anything is better than that. I feel like right now, I feel like the NWA should have been on Twitch. They should have had like wrestlers come in and host episodes of Power on a Twitch channel. I feel like that would have been better. Now they're calling me Kevin No-Wins. Thanks, Matt. But yeah, we don't know who's covering production cost. I have an unrealistic dream card and I have a realistic dream card and an unrealistic dream card. Mega, I'm put that in the Discord and tag me when you post it, because I would like to see what it is. We do have a Discord you guys could join. It's in the video description on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Or if you're on TikTok, it's in my bio. Now it's Evan Cohen's. Evan Cohen's and Kevin Strowman. Nice. Strowman is like 7 foot. I'm like 5 something. My feelings, if Billy is smart, Markova needs to be women's champion going into Roku. Steve G, I think that's a smart idea. Unless, hear me out, if you could get Markova, if you could get Natty Neihart as your women's world champion, if they do that in 77, and I know that's a big if, right? Because at this point, they had their limo ride. They already had the showcase Natty Neihart. If they were to get a second option, a second opportunity to use Natty, or maybe, multiple use Natty, that sounds bad. If they could have Natty sign up for multiple dates for the NWA, then I would put the belt on Natty in a heartbeat. I have nothing against Kenzie Page. I just feel like the title run has become monotonous because she's beaten everybody. There's nothing more for her to do. I don't want to see Kenzie Page beat the American Gladiator, Camille's reign as world champion. I want to see, I want to see that record hold up. So for Kenzie Page to lose the title to Markova, I don't think would hurt either one of them. And it's not like Kenzie can't come back later, regain the title. I mean, Ric Flair won the world heavyweight title 17 times. It means he lost it 17 times. All the cool NWA content creators are in the Discord. We're trying, man. We're trying. We really are. Willie says X sucks. Yeah. Also, Willie said NWA in Bakersfield, California. I feel like that. If you're going to come to California, I think that's where you got to go. I think you need to go to one of the cities that is less impacted by the major indies. We know that in Bakersfield was home to Vendetta Pro for a very long time. They did a lot of events out there in Bakersfield. Bakersfield historically has been a pretty significant wrestling territory in the past, having a lot of wrestling promotions compete out at the Bakersfield Dome. I don't think that exists anymore, but it would be a smart place to at least check out for the NWA. But yeah, I'm not counting on it. I've never been to Bakersfield. I don't plan to go to Bakersfield. It would take a lot to get me to go back to Bakersfield, or to go to Bakersfield, I guess I should say. I might have driven past it once. Cali KO. Thanks, Double D. Thanks for that. I know of a few indies that got on Roku. I'm wondering if this is being blown out of proportion. That is a great question. Oh, wow. Sean Mega, that's a good one. I'm going to get to that in just a minute, Sean. Hey, what's up, Ben? Ben on TikTok. How you doing, Ben? Ben's a good dude. Ben gifted me big time last time. Ben, no gifts today. No gifts. Let's see. Let me get to Wrestling Classics, and then I'm going to get back to what Sean said. I know of a few indies that got on Roku. I'm wondering if this is being blown out of proportion. So this isn't being on Roku. This is being on Roku Sports. Roku Sports is a programming channel, and they're featuring the NWA. This isn't like if I spent enough money, I could put the Alliance blog on Roku. We could all go to Roku and watch this program right now. That's not what this is. Someone is literally paying for the content. So for that, I'm like, no, I think this is a pretty big deal. For that, I think this is good news. What Sean Mega said on TikTok was NWA saw win in the Temple Lucha Underground. That would be absolute bonkers. That would be crazy. Double D, stop sending gifts, man. No gifts. That would be crazy. Saw win. Double D, come on, man. You don't have to do that. It makes me uncomfortable with too many gifts, man. Too much. That's weird. I want TikTok to give me money, not the people who are on TikTok. But Ben, thanks again for last week. That was really awesome. My wife happened to be just signed on to TikTok when that happened. I'm like, look, honey, it's paying off. But But yeah, Saul win at the Lucha Underground, the Temple. That would be really crazy. And I think that would be, yeah, but Double D, it cost you like $3 to send me 2 cents. And that's what I'm more concerned about. Anyways, back to the Saul win at the Lucha Underground at the Temple. Like, that was the home of some pretty bizarre stuff. And you know, I don't know how we could tie that to the NWA per se, but it would be an interesting venue. And the fact that, you know, that's just a shooting location. That's not like a real wrestling venue. If you've ever watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that was a Hydra hangout, the Temple. So there you go. There's a little trivia. Noob says, nah, that means Natalia Markova has to go to the WWE and feud with Nadia Neihart for the NWA Women's title, J. Cal. Look, I wouldn't hate that either, right? George says, is the old Alliance forum still up? No. Gmelos, I mean, it's still up, but I don't even have a link to it anymore. If you could find it, it's there. But no, we kind of put that out of its misery. There's no one going to the forum. We started a Discord and a lot of NWA chit chat going on all the time, 24/7. That's where it's happening. The message board just seemed to be, you know, not really worth it. Note to that, noob. NWA wrestling matches belong in the NWA, not the WWE. You know, right now, you have a WWE contracted wrestler as your TNA world champion. You have NWA tag, excuse me, I said NWA, a WWE tag team who holds the AAA tag team titles. Osmos held the Pro Wrestling Noah tag team titles. It's like, I don't think it would be crazy for an NWA championship to be held by a WWE talent. I'm just not advocating for it. Unless we're talking about Natty Neihart or Karrion Kross. I'm good with either one of those two. Sorry, Willie. I know that betrays everything that you stand for, but I think that'd be pretty awesome. Ben said, anything is possible now that Natalia could win the NWA Women's Championship if she competed for it again. 100%. Ben, and that would bring so many more eyeballs to the NWA. And I know some of the NWA faithful aren't on board with that, but it would be amazing if it is. Well, if it isn't Kevin Owens' twin, instead of the stunner, you use the RKO. That's awesome. Sean Mega says WWE owns AAA, though slightly different. Well, technically, Sean, that sale doesn't finalize until the third quarter. So right now, no, they don't. No, they don't. But they probably will. Yeah. Sam Retro said, when was the last time the NWA had a TV deal of this level? No, this is the biggest deal that the NWA has had in modern times, of course. Bigger than what, when Dave Marquez was the right-hand man of, I forgot his name now. The NWA that Dave Marquez was a part of, they had a deal on Colors, which was on like satellite. It was on the Dish Network. Colors was a channel on the Dish Network. It was very obscure. Not many people got it. The NWA, when Dave Marquez was still a part of the NWA, their show was on in Los Angeles on a regional television channel, and it was syndicated in a couple of different markets. That was a pretty big deal. There has never been a deal of this magnitude for the NWA, since Jim Crockett Promotions. And it's just the facts. Is it a big TV deal? No, it is a spot on Roku Sports, but that's bigger than what they've had previously. Ben, the deal is that they're going to be starting on July 29th, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. They will be featured on Roku Sports, which is free to join, free to have. It's no subscription. And it's really going to create a lot of eyeballs for the NWA. And previously they had been on the CW app. I don't really give that a whole lot of credit. They didn't do a whole lot for the NWA. Currently, they're airing the shows on X, and before that, it used to be YouTube, and then Triller as well. Willie, this is one of the few disappointments Jay and I have. I say no to Natty holding the NWA title. Yeah, disagreements, Steve. Yeah. Rick Del Santo. That's my guy, Rick. What's up? What's up? What's up? Noob says, which is why I say put the Burke on Markova and not Natty Neihart because she's just a one-off opponent. That's fair. Yeah, you know, George Gimelos, for you guys who don't know, is a longtime NWA fan. Used to be part of the old message board back in the days. Sean Mega, you might remember Gimelos. So does Big Chris Dog and maybe DKM and Jaden. He's a long time follower. But yeah, come on down. We have a good time over there. Over Metal's like, bring in the War Raiders. For the simple fact that, Raymond Rowe used to be Jack Stain's tag team partner. I would love to see the War Raiders in there. Ben says, Aldous was the greatest NWA champion of all time. Ben, did you hear the open? Do I need to play the open again for you? At least the Lost are on tonight's episode. That Alex Riley, man, he keeps popping in the chat every now and then. I think I'm going to have to ask him to come on and do an interview or something. Willie says that Jeremiah Plunkett or Mims versus Tom Latimer for the World Heavyweight Championship. I would love to see Plunkett versus Tom. That would be great. All right. We're running out of time here. And oh, hey, real quick, if you guys are bored in the next hour, in 5 minutes or so, I'm going to be having an interview with the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiator, Biggie Biggs. He'll be on to talk about their big event that is happening on June 28th. And remember, Biggie Biggs, former NWA New York champion, NWA New Jersey champion, NWA Eastern States champion, and previously had challenged for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship all those years ago. So we'll be talking to Biggie Biggs if you want to hang out shortly after this program is over. Alex Riley, no, please no, God no. Keep him out of my NWA. That was a Tyrus decision. That was his doing. Look at that. Look at that. He could be on Fox News. Oh, wait, he is. Bruh 67 says Kevin Owens. Or no, he just said Kevin. Sami, I'm not. That sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, I think I need to take a nap. I think that's what it is. Plunkett. Why don't they use Plunkett? He's so damn good. I don't get why. I don't get. Wait. Did I say Alex Riley? Oh, man. Alex Misery is who I 100% met. Yeah, Retro. I did get that in Philly. Tyler Franks is a blue chip around on Power tonight. I think Tyler Franks looks really good, man. Tyler Franks, I can't wait to see what happens for him. He's one of these guys I feel like, this is what the territory system was built for, is that you start finding these diamonds in the rough and you bring them up to the top. I really think Tyler Franks has got a bright future. In fact, I think I would have put Tyler Franks with Spencer Slade before they put Spencer Slade with my brain stopped working. I'm done, guys. I'm cooked. Yeah. Why don't they use Plunkett? He's so damn good. Yeah, Plunkett's great, man. We love Plunkett. We're big Plunkett fans here on the Alliance blog. And I feel like he should be used as a gatekeeper almost for the NWA. Like, you do have a good, exciting talent in your area. Bring in Plunkett and have Plunkett defend his NWA Mid-American Championship against your best guy and see if your best guy is even in the same class as somebody who's on Power. Like, he should be the scouting department for the NWA as well as booking that title all across the territories. NWA New Mexico, anybody on that program who should be champion, they need to go through, should be on Power. They need to go through Plunkett first. In fact, I think that title match, I feel like the title that Plunkett carries should be like the scouting development for the NWA. And somebody like Brian Idol, I know that he is not the Mid-American champion, but as somebody who literally goes out and scouts, that would be the title that would make the most sense. Overmetal said Mike Mondo. That's who I meant. Yeah, Mondo. 100% Mondo. Jake, Cal, ever do some commentary? That was always been like kind of a dream to do commentary for a pro wrestling organization. I just don't think I have the voice for it. I don't think people are very interested in hearing me talk about pro wrestling. But who knows? I might do some commentary. Might have to start my own wrestling promotion to do commentary. But yeah, who knows? Ben says, do you think Axiom and Nathan Frazier would fit in the NWA roster? Look, I feel like Nathan Frazier and Axiom, Fraxium, if you will, would be amazing in the NWA. I just feel like that's also not the best place for them. The NWA is kind of like the land of the heavyweights. Like, they have a very impressive heavyweight division. And yeah, I think Fraxium would be an amazing tag team to introduce in the NWA. But when you put them in the ring against Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch, I just don't feel like it doesn't make sense for me. You know, and that's not to say that little guys can't beat big guys, and especially with the mentality of like any day of the week, you know, on any given Sunday, something could happen, you know. But I feel like that's just not a good get for Fraxium. I think if you're going to bring in somebody from the WWE to challenge for the NWA tag titles, the aforementioned War Raiders, I think, would make a lot of sense because they're big and brawny. They'd fit right in. They'd fit right into that tag team division. And Ren keeps saying Sabu, which I think he's trying to say Sabu. I don't know. But, you know, once was enough. We're just going to go ahead and mute you for a little bit until you can figure out to say something else. That's a swear word? Oh, well. Should I block him? When Billy hires me to start NWA Northern New York, I'll fly you in. There you go. All right, look at that. I already got booked, guys. Already got booked. All right, Ben, on your assessment, I have blocked that person who was saying that word. Dalton McKenzie and JCP is another guy that should be bumped up. Like, look, and that's the other thing, too. I feel like that whole territory show, the Return to the Territories, made a lot of sense because you got to see these guys. And again, not that I'm stealing Dave Scooby's thunder here, but he's been preaching that the NWA should have some sort of like a USA show that showcases the territories. And I couldn't agree more, you know, like, especially if we're getting on Roku, if Power's moving to Roku, that's determined. That's what's going to happen. Cool. You still have X now that you could either continue to show Power or maybe do something different. You still have the vehicle that is YouTube to do something different. You still could go back to Triller or to Facebook or to Twitch and do like a USA territory show. And I think that would be a very smart business decision. You know, I love Tim Storm in the commentary booth. Wouldn't hate to see Tim Storm, rejoin the commentary booth. Maybe Tim Storm and a different personality could do the NWA territory show, like Alyssa Marino. I think that's her name. Anyway, we're running out of time, and I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. Real quick, just to talk about this week's episode of Power. We do have some very cool matches that are coming up, and I hope you guys will all take a look at them. Of course, you can watch the NWA on Power. You can watch NWA Power on X at 3:05 Pacific, 6:05 Eastern. The first matchup that I guess there's only really 2 advertised matches, and I don't know. I'm sure there'll be something else. But we have the Temple of Duum, if you ask me. They're making their return to the NWA. Beastman and Stone Rockwell. They will have their hands full when they take on the former World's Heavyweight Champion Baron Von Storm and Brandon Barretta. Brandon Barretta has been popping up all over the place. I don't know what the plan is that they have long term for him. I don't know if he's going to be a regular partner with Baron Von Storm, but I know that those two do not team at the Crockett Cup. So not trying to spoil anything, but we see someone else in Baron's corner at the Crockett Cup. Also, we have Tyler Frakes teaming up with Size Matters to take on The Lost. The Lost is Gagz the Gymp, Lev, and Alex Misery. A trio that I'm starting to get behind because I do think Alex Misery has a ton of potential, and I'm not sure where they go with The Lost after this. I mean, we do see them at the Crockett Cup, but I don't know in which direction you go with that trio. And hopefully some of those questions might be answered this tonight on Power. I do want to say thank you to everyone who's been hanging out with us here. Rick Del Santos said, that'll put asses in seats. Agreed, Rick. Agreed. Haunted Inquiry called me Kevin Owens. It's cool, man. It's part of the gag. It makes it fun. I hope you guys had fun. I think we're all preaching that. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Look, he's the loudest. I hear Dave Scooby say it all the time. Alyssa Milano. Wait, wasn't she on Who's the Boss? Jason, I appreciate hanging out with you too, man. Come back Tuesday. I think I'll be here Thursday as well. I don't know for sure yet, but we just talk wrestling. That's what we do here. Of course, the second hour on Tuesdays is dedicated to the NWA. It's part of the pre-show. We call it the pre-party. You can check us out on youtube.com/The Alliance Vlog every Tuesday at this time until something else changes. Dan Matthews could do play-by-play for the USA. I'm in. Cool. Ben. Oh, Ben. Ben, you're haunting me with that. Real quick, George says, I went to AEW at the new Front Wave Arena in Oceanside. Would like to see the NWA eventually do a show there. I think you're asking for too much, G. Too much. All right, that's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for talking wrestling with me for the past 2 hours on TikTok and NWA Talk for the last hour here on YouTube. We'll be back next week, and until then, we'll see you at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Vlog, and until next time, we are